Hi, friend. I'm so excited to talk to you about weekend number 8 of my yoga teacher training journey. The word that I came up for this weekend was inclusive. The reason that I have inclusive as my word is because we learned a whole bunch of different things in one weekend. It was probably the most information packed, non anatomy, of course, of information packed about different types of classes. And so the overall theme that I want to make sure that I start with is that yoga is for everyone. I say this a lot. If you've heard any of my marketing blogs, you hear me say that, and you might think because of that, that would kind of deter my platform of niching down and really coming to what your passion is and teaching your passion. But the idea that yoga is for everyone actually makes that my argument a little bit stronger. And here's why. Because if yoga is for everyone, which it is, and we know that, then you have a plethora of people who can take your class that want just your class. So it actually solidifies that point that there are people that will take your class that you are passionate about. So that's not what you're here for. You're here to hear me talk about my yoga teacher training journey. But I loved that the overall theme was yoga is for everyone, and it is very inclusive. And so we started with trauma-informed yoga. And I didn't get the special certification. That's a whole nother training that I definitely want to go and take. But we did get just a little bit of information, the tip of the iceberg for trauma-informed. And it was just a fantastic experience. I found that during this journey of yoga teacher training, I have just naturally picked up on the cues. And there's one of the lead teachers who is heavily involved with serving a population that needs trauma-informed yoga all the time. And so when she teaches a class, her cues are very, very trauma-informed, and you can tell she uses different words. And I have just naturally picked up on it, and it feels really, really precious to me. So I think there's some things going on in my life that have led me down to just wanting to be a little bit more sensitive with my words. And so I'm really excited about digging in deeper into trauma-informed yoga. And one of the things that we learned was that our body just naturally responds to traumatic experiences. And we were introduced to the polyvagal theory, which I had never heard of before. And I am not going to try and explain the polyvagal theory to you, but there is a link in the blog where you can hear how the person who created this theory explains it, because he does a much better job than I would ever do in explaining it. But it basically says that our body, not our mind, not our words, but our body responds perfectly in all situations because it's trying to save our life. All the time. We don't even have to make decisions. Our body will just respond. And so that polyvagal theory has informed trauma-informed yoga in a huge way. And so I'm excited to dive in and learn some more about that. And then we went on to learn about restorative yoga, which, how perfect is that, right? You're talking about trauma and then you go into restorative. So very smart on the training, the school, they're planning for that. And we talked about restorative yoga by first experiencing it. And oh my gosh, all the praise hands for restorative yoga. It's amazing. And it's the one time where, not the one time, I've come home and talked about my journey with my family, my husband, and shown a few things like, oh, we went into this or learned this. But restorative yoga is a true thing in our household now. And admittedly, I am usually pretty quick with getting these video blogs up and done pretty quickly to the weekend in which it's occurring. But because of some life things, I did not get this done. But because I didn't get it done the Monday after my weekend happened, I'm excited to tell you an experience that I had because I brought restorative yoga home. So my husband had a very stressful day, and when I could tell he was really stressed, and it was that he had a stressful day, he came home, We ate dinner, and I could just tell he needed to relax a little bit. So I totally played the I'm a student card and need to practice. And I said, let me put you in this restorative pose and I'm really curious. I want to see if I can do it. I mean, I'm pulling couch cushions from the couch, pillows galore, and all kinds of blankets. And I just asked him if I could do it and get him into the pose that it would take about 10 minutes for him to get into it, for me to help, and then he would lay there for 20. Well, as you can imagine, he was like, I'm just going to lay there for 20 minutes. I don't know, like, he was okay, but he wasn't super pumped about it. I could tell. But after I'm like working around couch cushions and pillows and all these things, I was trying to figure out how to put him there. And he lays there and he finally got a little settled and said, 20 minutes isn't going to be enough. And I just loved it so much because he was instantly convinced that it was going to be great. And so the first night I had him on the ground, it was carpeted in our bedroom, had him down on the carpet, had all these pillows and blankets and couch cushions and all the things. And it took me about 10 minutes to get him into it. It took him about another 10 to get settled and to stop talking, maybe even longer. And then he laid there for like 45 minutes. He did not want to get up. He was very quiet and he wasn't moving. And so I just let him rest. And then once I got him out of the pose, he went to bed and he was asleep within 5 minutes. It was amazing. So then the next night, he asked if I could put him in the pose in bed. I just said, sure, let's try it. I don't know what I'm doing, but let's just try it. So I did the same pose in bed and put him, like propped him up on all the things. Took about 10 minutes to get him back into the pose. Seriously took him like 5 minutes, 10 minutes just to like settle down. Not even that long. Like it was super fast. He was settled, not talking. And then he laid in the pose for about 45 minutes. I was doing some other things around the house, so I just kind of let him be there, and he was really comfortable. I would check in. He was not moving. And then once he rolled out of the pose, because he was in bed, got him out, he was asleep before I even put the props away. It was incredible. And then he texted me the next day and said, Amanda, I've never slept better. In my life, I've never felt so rested as I do right now. And that was just after 2 days of restorative yoga. So he's convinced, I'm convinced, and now he has a ton of ideas for restorative workshops, and he wants me to learn everything I can about restorative yoga. So it was very funny that he is convinced and ready to learn as much as possible as well. So after restorative yoga, then we went to chair yoga. And this was like full circle for me. So if you remember several weeks ago, I decided to try chair yoga on my own. During one of the yoga teacher training weekends, my knee was really messed up and hurting tremendously that day. So I thought, I'm just going to try. Well, come to find out, I didn't know what I was doing with chair yoga. I was really winging it and doing the best I could. And now I know way more about chair yoga. But it was really difficult for me. Mentally, it was very difficult, but even physically, I was really challenged with chair yoga. And I thought it was just me. But here's the full circle. All of the class, we all did chair yoga in yoga teacher training, weekend 8, and everyone said it was hard. So I wasn't the only one. It really is difficult, and that was very helpful just to hear. Not that I needed it to be hard for everyone else, but it was just kind of nice to hear that it was challenging. And we had a fabulous teacher for chair yoga. She was a blast. And I was reflecting on this and thinking about my journey through yoga teacher training. And we have had to watch and observe classes as part of the training. So I chose a chair yoga class for one of mine because I have this knee injury that I'm really dealing with, and it's very difficult. And I thought, I want to observe a chair yoga class. So I did, and it was seriously one of my favorite classes. It was my favorite to observe for sure. because they were just so much fun. The teacher was fun, and the ladies, it happened to be all females. It was just an off day. There's usually male and female in there, but they were so funny. And I think there's this element of, once you can take down that mental barrier of, I can't do everything, so I can do chair yoga, like, you just let that go and you have so much fun with yoga. I mean, these ladies that I observed were having a blast. And the teacher for chair yoga, she was having a blast with us. I don't know what the difference is, but I had so much fun. And I'm convinced that chair yoga is amazing and super, super challenging for those who may not just be able to stand all the way. And one of the things, the teacher that was teaching us, she works at a facility where people are in a wheelchair or they're paralyzed. And my observation of chair yoga was people who were able to stand but just chose to use chair yoga. And her experience was so sweet, that the people that she's working with can't stand for one reason or another, and some sort of illness or whatever's going on. And she shared pictures with us, not just with me, with all of us. Oh my gosh, videos where she really focuses on breath in her chair yoga class and says, send your breath to, insert wherever. And she talks to her students about sending their breath where they are paralyzed. And so she talks about, like, sending your breath to your legs or whatever is happening. And she had videos of that limb moving for the first time, either ever or in years. I didn't get all the details, but oh my gosh, like, sending your breath, the mental capacity that we have in our brain to move a paralyzed limb with our breath that's a miracle. It was breathtaking. It was very sweet for us to witness, and I was so thankful that she shared that with us. It was just a really cool experience, and I hope that I get to experience more awesome chair yoga classes in my future. And then we kept learning about vocal cueing. And I was excited about this, but I was kind of like a little bit nervous because I get very much in my head about the words. My first experience teaching my husband was a nightmare because everything I told him to do, he did seemingly the opposite. My brain was telling me to say something, I said it didn't land well, and I was very, very frustrated. And our awesome teacher for vocal cueing, she just said, your cues don't even matter. Of course you want them to land well, but it doesn't even matter. Their experience in your class is what matters. So stop taking it so seriously. She was talking to me. She didn't even know me at that point, but I could feel that she was talking to me in that moment because that's exactly where I am. I want my words to be so perfect when I teach a class. I don't want to get flustered. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm so worried all the time. But when she said that, it really hit me. It really, really hit me. And she just said, don't take it so seriously. Let them have a great experience. And I think, and she went on to say, and I'm going to quote her, I wish I could say that I have come up with these words, but she said to teach the class that you would teach even if no one showed up. And so when she said that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's the most amazing way to have your passion come through in your class, is if you would teach it even if no one showed up, because you know that class is so cool. And it really would translate in that way. And I think about how much passion did you feel when I was talking about restorative yoga? You probably thought, oh, I want to come to her class. I've actually had several people say when I've said I really enjoyed restorative yoga, they've said, oh my gosh, you would be perfect for that. Your voice, your tone, whatever, you would be perfect at teaching or leading a restorative class. And that is where it's at. Oh my gosh, that's where it's at. All of this time of me talking, I try not to weave the marketing side in too much with my yoga teacher training blog videos, but this one is just too perfect. Here we're talking about yoga is for everyone. We need to be inclusive to everyone. Yes, yes, yes. that is where it comes into play. Like, everyone has an audience because yoga is for everyone. And how beautiful it is that you can teach the class that you love to a group of people who will love it just as much as you will. That's perfect. That's my mission in life, is to have yoga teachers be able to do exactly what I just said and do a great job doing it and teach what you love, earn a living, all of that. So good. So I was preaching there a little bit, but hope you liked it. And that's the whole thing. When you can feel the passion come through, you know the person is really caring about that topic. And so if you can just find the class that you love. And on that note, you might not know what you love yet. If you're a new yoga teacher, or even if you think you know what you love, say yes to some things that you don't think that you would love. And try and teach that class and figure out if you really truly don't like it. It might be the case, probably is, but then you'll know for sure. I say all the time, like, I don't want to teach a power class. That's just not where I am in my journey, and it's not what I have a passion for. I don't attend power classes. That's just not where I am, for several reasons. And so, but I think I need to challenge myself and teach a power class once and see how it goes, because what if it just lights me up? Because I don't have to do all of the power, right? I'm teaching. And so you just never know. I think challenging yourself to figure out what you love, you'll truly find your passion and you'll really enjoy whatever class you're teaching. So I hope that this blog post really hit home for you and you have enjoyed learning about my journey. I only have a few more weekends to go. So thank you so much for coming along this journey with me and listening to me talk about weekend number 8. Until next time, see you later.